Falisha,
Yes.
thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm good.
I hugged you just earlier and you were like,
Piping hot.
Yes.
Because it's Vegas, i.e.
Yeah.
like Mars.
Yeah.
We're dying.
just a little bit, just a tad bit. It's only what?
Although the mornings have just cooled off. Do you feel it?
Yeah, yeah.
So I tried,
early mornings.
I tried to wish fall into existence the other day, and I put on a cardigan.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, the morning feels like fall. I put on a cardigan. The whole rest of the day, I died. I was like, that was dumb.
You're like this.
So dumb.
Like,
Stupid.
Here are my pits.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you
Okay.
do? Start from the wait. I want you to start because I just heard it was very sentimental post or a video. I don't know. I don't remember what it was exactly, but you were talking about your parents.
Oh.
Like,
Not my parents, my in-laws.
Exactly.
Who
Yeah.
are my parents.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
So start from there.
Okay, start from there. So, my husband and I have known each other since we were kids. He actually started chasing me in elementary school, through middle school, chase. Actually, we literally have his middle school yearbook where he lined out my last name, Escaleta, and put Rexford.
Oh,
Like, no
I like
joke,
this. I like
middle
this guy.
school,
I
right?
like this guy already.
So, like, persistent, annoying. High school came around. High school came around. I just wasn't into boys. So high school came around, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, that Nick guy is kind of cute. And just the butterflies and fell in love.
Yeah.
And all the things, right? He knew it way before me. So I didn't have the greatest childhood. Grew up really poor in like mobile home parks, trailer parks, rough. And it's hard for me to sometimes talk about because I talk to my mother now. There's many years that I didn't.
Yeah.
She left us for a man on the internet for years, you know, and just kind of like and left.
Yeah.
So I don't talk about that much. But who picked up the slack? Who became my mom? My now mother-in-law, Jeanette. They actually even took me in and gave me a room to like sleep in and chores at the age of 17. And so like my in-laws are my parents. And so it gets very confusing when everybody knows them to be Nick's parents because I'm like, Mom, Dad. And my mother-in-law, my mom, is one of my best friends. So, I mean, she's just been there. She's been there through my whole growth. When I left for the Air Force, when I graduated the Air Force, when I pushed people out of my body, you know, she was there.
Little
and,
things.
you know, she's my mom.
Yeah.
So we just bought them a house in Las Vegas.
Saw that. That's so
and
awesome.
we're furnishing it for them. And there's nobody on the planet that I feel like deserves a more beautiful home. It's been fun decorating it because as we do, I'm just like, the best,
Yeah.
the best, the
Yes.
best.
Everything
I just
for
want the
them.
best. Yeah.
VIP.
And Nick keeps coming over and he'll give me hugs or kisses and he'll be like, thank you for loving my parents so much. And
That's
I'm just
so
like,
awesome.
man, they love me.
Yeah.
They love me, you know.
That's
My
good,
my
yes.
father-in-law actually saw that post and he was at my house and he came over. My father-in-law is like 6. Let's just go 6 or something. And he works out every day of his life for as long as I've known. He's a big guy. And he came over and he just hugged me and he was crying.
Oh,
I
my
know.
God.
I'm like,
Yeah, I
"God,
got kind
man.
of yeah.
All right, calm down.
Relax, dude. Jeez. Let us furnish the house first. Gosh.
Yeah,
Okay, so what would you say is the most important thing that they taught you or they instilled in you as a
My mother-in-law is the hardest working person / woman, but person that I know.
Yeah.
To a fault, and she knows this. She works 6 days a week, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for as long as I can remember. Was she always at Nick's baseball games? Was she always at all the things? No, she has worked and worked and worked and worked, and just her work ethic is something like I've never seen. Like I said, to a fault. So I'm a worker bee, but I'm also trying to take a page from her book, not putting her down, but realizing, okay, I can do this different, maybe a little bit better, live a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't want to do well and then retire later on in life with a body that can't still climb a mountain or can't still go snowboarding. Like, that's not me.
So
you know
work
what I mean?
hard, play hard, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes. I don't know if you say bad words on this podcast.
Fuck yes.
Okay. There's going to be a lot of like, yeah. You know?
So work hard, play hard, and I see that because you're always traveling.
Always.
But what I enjoy and what reminds me of my wife, and I kind of struggle with this, is that you guys are always like bringing the kids. You guys are bringing. I love my kids to death, right? But they're at this. Sarah knows they're at this unique
Shaken baby
age.
syndrome age.
Yes, where it's like, oh gosh, it's like, I love you so
Love
much,
you
but
so
jeez,
much. Get out of my
you're really
way.
tested. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're like,
Ages? What
yeah.
are their ages?
So one's gonna be 3 and then one's gonna be 1. The 1-year-old
Oh,
is like a little angel right now. He's a little angel.
Yeah.
The 3-year-old, he just
Oh,
he
you
does
still,
he
you're
does
in the shit. So
yeah.
like, you're in the shit.
He does like these little drive-bys to
Yeah.
his brother. He just goes boom and just like, yeah. I'm like, why are you doing
Yeah,
this?
yes.
And he's like,
Until about 6. I think 6 is a tip over. So, I mean, you're in the shit. Anytime somebody's like 6 or below, I'm like, oh, your life sucks.
yeah.
Like, it just does. But mine, I get to say that. I
Yeah.
earned my badge. So,
Yes.
they are 11 and 13. And there's different shit, you know what I mean, that
Yeah.
we're dealing with now, which is super interesting and crazy and just... Yeah, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
Man. But
we'll save that for the next one.
yeah, but travel. Don't stop traveling.
Yeah.
You know, we do take the kids a lot of different places, but we are leaving to Italy in September
Yes.
by ourselves.
That is gonna be awesome. For how long?
3 weeks. Just me and my husband. We're shopping for a house.
It's happening now.
It's happening.
All the investigating,
all of my dreams,
yeah,
all
everything.
Yeah.
So okay, we're gonna talk about that
'Kay.
in a little bit. So, upbringing, your family, right? So then you went to the Air Force.
Yeah.
How was that with you and Nick?
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It literally, you know how we all have these vivid moments and vivid days, vivid things, like where you're like, I remember that day, like it was the day that I left Nick, because at that point he was he was the love of my life, where like we broke up our junior year of high school, and you know, you watch him walk by with somebody else and your stomach physically hurts.
Yeah,
like you're just like, ooh, that hurts, you know? He was the love of my life. And I was waitressing to put myself through college. So I was waitressing to put myself through college. So I was waitressing at TGI Fridays, and I was making enough to pay my credit card to go to college to be an art major. And then I was doing this for 2 years. And then I realized I was a B art student, and I'm like, there's a lot of other people that are just like way better than me. I'm like, what the fuck you doing, Falisha? Like, you're a good drawer, but like, where are you going? For reals.
Yeah.
I went and actually toured Otis. Have you ever heard of that? It's
No.
an art college in Southern California. I toured Otis, and I was just like looking at the stuff people were making with their hands, and I'm like, I'm not you. Like, oh, I drove home from Otis going, oh, fuck. Like, I am not nearly as good as these people. And it was just an epiphany. I started, like I always tell people, I started to have dental pain. I've had knee pain. I had no medical. I had no dental. I was waitressing to pay my credit card to be an art major because nobody gave me guidance in life. You know, I'm like, this is going downhill fast. I lived in Mariloma, California, little kind of like town.
Yeah.
And just... It was like I pulled shocks. I took my ASVAB. I scored really good. I went into the Air Force. I picked an intelligence job, so I got a top secret clearance and all these things really fast. And by the time I made my decision, then to leave was 30 days.
30, like, so
30
all
days.
this happened in 30 days.
Yeah. 30 days I was gone.
And how did you tell?
It was awful. Like that was the day, by the way, that I remember just like so vividly. My dad came to my house, my in-laws' house, to pick me up. And I got in the car, and I really thought, like, I potty mouth aside, I am a Christian, and I do believe in God. I always say I'm a Christian who cusses. It just is what it is. I'll
Jesus loves
apologize to
you.
him
Yeah.
later, okay? Just rack him up. But I just thought if we were going to make it, we were going to make it.
Yeah.
You know? And I just took that huge leap of faith. And I left my then, 20-year-old hot boyfriend that
He was
everybody
probably in
liked.
shape, and he was like,
dude, yoked, lowered
dang.
S10,
Yeah.
like the whole SoCal vibe, if we're going to make it, we're going to make it. And I wish I could kind of like be the fly on the wall, because I went through boot camp and I received handwritten letters the whole time. He wrote me the whole time. I have them. He wrote me the whole time. I survived for those letters.
Yeah.
I left everybody I loved and knew behind because I needed to be a better version of myself. I needed to go. And anybody out there who isn't coming from anything, I think the military is a great resource for that.
Yeah.
It's going to help you build a resume. It's going to show you how blessed we are to live in this country and do whatever the hell we want to do.
Yeah.
It gave me dental. It gave me medical. I mean,
The benefits go on and
just
on.
go on and on and on. My VA loan, like all these things. I saw war. I saw death. I was involved in missions I can't talk about. I did it. I did it. It changed I always say it changed my trajectory.
Yeah.
It completely changed my trajectory. But I had to fucking jump. I had to literally go, this is going to suck. And talk about the world's biggest gamble. Because the love of my life, that could have not worked out. And there was definitely, this one's going to get deep. There was definitely moments. I mean, you got to realize I was also a young female surrounded by nothing but men.
Yeah.
And don't tell me that people don't have physical needs or emotions or things like that. Like there were some conversations that Nick and I had that were raw conversations, It was not easy.
Yeah.
But we did it.
Jeez, man.
We did it.
The
first 2 years, the first 2 years of our marriage, I think we saw from boot camp, the first 2 years of my military career. We had totaled it years ago, and I would have to sit down and really calculate it, but it was something like we saw each other for a total of like 14 or 16 days in 2 years.
Jeez.
At that age, at those young ages.
Yeah. So, okay. Air Force.
Yep.
Became a badass. You probably were already a badass, but you were like...
No, I think that made me one.
Okay, you became a badass.
Remember, I was a wussy art teacher. I was like,
yeah, that's true. I want to draw. Okay, so Air Force, become a badass. You get out. What's next? What happens?
I became a contractor. So what I did was I literally took off my military uniform and I put on a civilian outfit, and I went to work the next day doing the exact same thing, except for now I was teaching the military how to launch and land aircraft, how to land without engines, how to employ weapons, how to, all of it, spy on people, was teaching them for 9 years.
Wow.
So I went from being in the uniform to teaching the uniform, out of uniform for 9 years. And that was a huge pay increase. And I like to try to fill this gap too, because I would probably still be I would have been the 20-year, retiree if we weren't having such a hard time getting pregnant with my oldest. So we were 4 years into IVF. Now, military gave me a lot. Military doesn't pay too much, in the very beginning. So I think I found I put Nick through college, and I found some of our pay stubs, and they were like $750 for 2 weeks. I'm like,
what the? Yeah.
So it didn't pay much. And we were at that time $38,000 in debt trying to get pregnant with my son for 4 years. So I was being offered this contracting job and instantly making $130,000 a year. So it wasn't that the military wasn't it for me anymore. It did boil down to a financial and family decision. Because I really did love so much stuff about the Air Force and owe so much to the military.
Yeah.
But it was a family/financial decision. So I took the job for 9 years. I was riding high on making six figures and got pregnant with my son and started to buy a house here and a house there and just thought that, man, I made it.
Yeah.
I made it. And then I decided to jump again 9 years later and...
So what gave you that itch to fuck it, let's go here?
God.
Yeah.
He's awesome. So I got super morbid one night with Nick, and I was like, what happens if you die? What would you do? Let's kind of actually have this figured out.
Yeah.
And then we did that back and forth. And by then we had acquired, I think, 6 houses by then.
That's awesome.
And we were not fun young people. We totally drained our savings, bought a house and drained our savings and bought a house. And it was in the market where nobody was buying. So everybody thought we were crazy. But I calculated out the commissions to sell 6 houses. I'm like, well, what if I needed to liquidate a house just to pay off this one so me and the boys don't stress? I'm like, I'm going to go get my real estate license.
Okay.
So I kind of got my real estate license backwards. I got it in the event that I would have to sell a house or 2, or what would I need to do?
Save some money.
Yeah, and we were folding down our bed to go to bed, and I'm like, and maybe I'll sell 3 houses a year, and that will be savings, extra savings.
This
was my naive, going to do
trap.
it.
This is where it
I'm
started.
I'm going to do it. So I started taking classes, and sometimes I would fly, land, debrief, write a grade sheet, and then like run to Key Realty School and grab like the back end of a class till 10 o'clock, you know?
Jeez.
And I was studying up at Creech Air Force Base for my license. God is my witness. This is like serious truth, and this is where I say it's God. People started like, so we always had these swivel chairs, right? So I'd be like typing up a grade sheet, and like a swivel chair would come and they'd sit down and be like, so I need to sell my house. And I'm like, oh, awesome. And thinking like, darn it, I don't have my license yet. And they're like, yeah, so when can you represent me? And I'm like, you know that I'm still studying. Like, I don't even have my license.
Yeah.
Hand to God on my children's life. That happened, and I ended up picking up 7 transactions, and I had to quickly find a broker to slide them under. I had 7 deals before I ever had my license.
That's impressive.
7.
Fuck.
And I'm like, and I was blowing my mind that everybody wanted to use me when they knew me, that I didn't have my license. And I would keep asking them that question, like, you guys know that I don't. They just wanted to trust somebody
that knows what they're going through, knows what they've been through, and all that stuff.
has their back.
Yeah.
That military camaraderie, you don't fuck with that.
No, yeah.
You don't fuck with that. And there's been so many people that I've been bombed with, shot with, did other things with, you know, like, there's no messing around with that. So I went, it was like a light bulb, boom, and I'm like, there is nobody really promoting themselves like this. There's nobody really, I mean, anybody could help people. Why isn't there one name going around my squadron of who to use? Why do they feel more comfortable coming to me? So I went, So then I went to my then boss, and nobody went part-time up there. Everybody worked. And I sat down with my boss, Robo, if you're listening, and he reacted in like a way that I wasn't expecting. I was like, I want to go part-time. And what my thought process was back off a little bit on the contracting thing, and let's see what I can do with this real estate thing. I just needed to like weigh out my finances.
But 7
right?
deals, that's already like more than
Dude,
yes.
I was like, oh my God. It was so much money. I think one was like an $800,000. I was like, what? You know? So I went to Robo, asked to go part-time. He reacted physically. He like threw his hands in his hair and threw himself back. And I was like, ooh, like that was not what
Sorry
I was
about that.
Ooh. And then the next day he found me, and we always, if you know Robo, you know he always says, hey, bud. That's what he says. And he come over and he goes, hey, bud. And he was like, we don't want to lose you. If you want to go part-time, we don't want to lose you. So what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to go part-time. And that was another learning point where I'm like, ask for what you want. Ask for what you freaking want.
Yep.
Thought it went disastrously the first time, but I got what I wanted. I stepped back, got me 2 more days, because I was working real estate mornings, nights, and weekends. And then I got another couple days in my pocket, started doing more real estate, and within 12 months had already equaled to what I was getting paid on my contractor side. So then I knew, I'm like, in the Air Force, we call it pulled shocks, right? Before a plane takes off. So I was like, it's time to pull shocks and bet on myself.
And then that's real estate. That's when it started.
That's when it started.
So, yeah. And we're done, ladies and gentlemen.
That's where it started.
So now, okay. So now walk me through your first growing pains in like real estate, like being your own.
Not having a TC, doing everything, like the paperwork. I remember just crawling into bed 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. I'm a worker bee. I will do it. I will get shit done. And I just remember like thinking I'm going to die, you know? And my first transaction coordinator was an older lady, and she was okay in the beginning, but then it was like I needed to help her more than she was helping me.
Yeah, yeah.
So that first hire, you hear that over and over again, but it's so true. So like once you start hitting that ceiling, and for me, my ceiling was like pure exhaustion, 50, 60 deals by myself and doing the paperwork. Stupid, just dumb, you know? Just totally stupid. Then I got Kayla, that's who I was talking to.
Yeah.
Like, do this.
Help me, please.
Yeah. And I'm not going to answer calls anymore. So got her, and then poof, went through that level.
The next level, yes. Okay.
Got to the next level. And then I went, I physically can't help all these clients. This is an awesome problem to have. I physically need another body.
Yeah.
And it was funny because one of my now best friends came to me and was like, hey, I have my license and I feel like we should work together.
I love you.
And I'm like, I just didn't know if I was ready yet.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, and even Kayla was like, hey, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. She used to work at the one, I'm pregnant, but I need something still. I need an identity. And that's how we created the TC. And then Lacey was attracted to me. And then that's when I got myself a buyer agent or a duplication of me. And then more business. I'm okay, now we need another one.
Yep.
And another one, and another one, and it's just grown from there.
Yeah. So how many agents do you have right now?
So I have 2 full-time agents. That's Lacey and Colleen.
Okay.
Then I have Josh. He is full-time active duty military. The dude's me 7 years ago. So he's a grinder. He works mornings, nights, and weekend. I mean, he is just a freaking
He's
grinder.
building. He's in build mode right now.
He's yeah. So I've got him. So he's part-time. Then I've got my baby brother, who I always say is I say little big brother. He likes me saying my big little brother. Whatever.
It's
so
wording,
like
okay?
he
It's
is my
wording.
6 foot tall younger brother.
Yeah.
He's new and he also is kind of part time. He works for my other brother as well. So he works for both siblings.
Perfect.
And then I have my husband. He's my
Have to,
newest.
yeah.
He's my newest ad. So I told him, don't suck. It'll just be weird having to
About to fire you. Hey, I love you, but
yeah, but he's a fire captain.
Yeah.
So that's his primary job. So that's why I say I have got 2 full-time agents, like can show during the week, And then I've got 3 part-time agents who are all phenomenal and they can all help me, but we're partners on everything because I need to help them too at times.
100%.
And then I have a TC and now I have a personal assistant, which when you get there, life
I'm waiting for that.
changes.
Please. Talk to Maddie, please.
Dude, life effing changes.
Yeah.
It just does.
So she does essentially all the...
Everything. Like what falls through the funnel and it's like, Nikki. Yeah, she does everything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh,
so,
my gosh.
now you have 2 full-time agents and then some part-time agents.
Yep. A TC and a personal assistant.
What would you... So the first hire, you said that was kind of the most tricky one, right?
Yeah,
like
the transaction coordinator.
When do you have that person? What would you give somebody who's like kind of in your shoe right now? Like, I'm doing great, but I need help.
Yeah.
Do they get an agent or a TC?
If you want to be a high-producing agent, first of all, you're more than likely a people person. So where do I make my money? Right here. Give me your handshake. This is where I make my money. That's where I make my money.
Saw that.
Meeting somebody, handshaking, moving and grooving in rooms, going to events, attracting clients. I'm supposed to be out there. Like I always say, one of my favorite phrases is show up. If they invite you to the baby shower, show up. If they invite you to the birthday, show up. If you're going to be a high-producing agent, then you should be out there. Yep. So what is not making you money? Sitting behind a desk doing this shit. Yeah. So... Airbnb. Oh, yes. So I bought a house in California that had to be renovated. And we did, and it took way longer than we thought it was going to take. And so like 6 months plus later, we just didn't want to hold it anymore. So we were like, oh, let's sell it. And back then, Bigger Pockets Podcast was a brand new podcast. So much of the stuff that I've learned on Bigger Pockets, we just were doing, but we were like, let's just do that. This sounds good. Like, it was just so, like, pulling it out of our asses and just doing it. Like, and then Bigger Pockets is like, I'm like, I did that. I just didn't call it that. I didn't call it house hacking, but I rented out every single one of my rooms. Nick and I rented out every single one of our bedrooms for the first 7 years of marriage in 2 different homes. We did not pay our mortgage for the first 7 years of marriage.
In your guys' house where you guys lived?
Actual homes. Wow. And then when people needed a room, and I'm like, I don't have a room, but I have a couch. I actually rented out all my rooms and my couch for $200. I'm like, you can come live there if you need it. Like, dude, like, homegirl grew up in a trailer park. Like,
this ain't shit. This ain't shit.
I don't care. So, and then I bought a 4,500 square foot house, and I'm like, all the bedrooms.
The potential.
We can rent them all out. So we did. We rented out every single. We had so many people in our house, and then Bigger Pockets comes on, and then they coin it like house hacking. I'm like, I thought it was just called cheap. I thought it was just called being cheap, you know? So we were house hacking our house for 7 years of our marriage. And where did this fall in? Yeah, I was working at Creech. So that California flip, really, I don't like saying flip because I don't want to get in trouble, but like it was a 6-month plus flip.
Yep.
And then Bigger Pockets started talking about this 1031 exchange thing. And I'm like, what is this? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, let's just, try this. Got a hold of a 1031 actually went to a class. Stephen Decker with IPX, 1031 Exchange is a really big company, was teaching. And we sat there and I listened to and absorbed probably 10% of his class. There's just so much to learn on that one. But I got the basics. The basics were you could sell, take your profits, roll them over onto something else of equal or greater value. I'm like, okay. And then Nick and I were like, we've always wanted a cabin. So then we started thinking about a cabin. And even that, like when you do a 1031 exchange, it has to be like-kind property. And even that, like I just didn't know anything. I'm like, well, I'm selling this house and I want to buy a cabin. Is that like-kind? And they're like, yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So then I go up to Duck Creek. We're trying to like stay at like, I think I sold the house in California for like 160. So I'm like, 200. That's 200. I'm cheap, right? So like I'm 200. And then we're like in this real estate office and I see this flyer and we weren't finding what we wanted. And I see this flyer and I pick up the flyer and it's black and white. It says 245,000. And I look at it. I'm like, damn, that thing looks like what we want. And I look at my agent and she was like, that has a meadow where you're going to sit on the front porch and watch your kids play. I'm like, let's go see it. I walked in. This is how I buy houses, by the way. I walked in. I went up the stairs. I walked into the kitchen. I peeked into the bedroom. I walked out, and I sat down, and my husband goes, you're not going to go look downstairs? I'm like, no, I want it. Like, it is perfect. I literally fell in love. Like, and that's how a lot of these houses are for me. Like, I just fall in love.
There's something special,
Yeah, there's something special, and, like, that was our first property where we were like, we made it. We have a house that we get to enjoy in the woods. My kids were babies, and we made it. Like, we made it. Drinking wine, overlooking, like, holy shit, this is crazy. Yes. And then we started Airbnb-ing it. So that's like 7+ years ago.
Well, okay.
And that cabin, it just goes. That thing just does so well.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
In all seasons, right? All seasons.
All seasons now. Yeah. But now I also have, 300, reviews, and we've upgraded her. Actually, tomorrow she gets power washed, and 2 weeks from now she gets fully sanded and restained, And who's doing this, by the way? Who's paying for these upgrades? Am I paying for these upgrades?
No, the people that are renting.
People that are staying in my house are paying for these. So 7 years of equity growth. All of my upgrades have been paid for. My mortgage and all my utilities are paid for. And I get to go and use it. Right?
Guys, that's right? If you don't learn anything from this podcast, that itself is the nugget right there.
And that's when we started duplicating that process. So then we went, now we want a Florida beach property. And that thing's paying for itself. That thing, I checked in on it yesterday, and we were at $61,000 this year on that one. Now it has a shit ton of overhead, but it's already paid for itself for the entire year. Now we're in the green. For the whole rest, anything that books from here on out is in the green. And we go there, and I'm just like, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
It is just awesome. We have a Big Bear cabin in California, and soon to be, pray for me, Italy.
So what's the game plan? So game plan going into Italy. What's the...
Oh, man.
Give us the rundown.
Okay.
As quick or as long as you want.
Okay, so I'm going to try to do the rundown because I think people think like, I just want to buy an international property, like, and it's just about Italy. It is not just about Italy for me. It is about Nick and I's next chapter of life with no kids. My husband is actually not well traveled in terms of world travel. And he has about 4.5 years left on the fire department. And
then retirement.
So we'll have his retirement, and then he'll be my full-time agent as well. But, our kids will be XYZ age, and when they leave the nest, and go somewhere. Italy will be like Vegas is to me here in the States. So Vegas is my hub home. And then we go to Duck Creek, and we go to Big Bear, California, and we go to Florida, and we go buy properties all over the U.S., It's my hub home, though. I come home. Italy is going to be my hub home for all of Europe. And my dream is, because you can stay out there for 3 months.
Yeah, easily.
So you can stay out there for 3 months. So you can fly into Florence. And then has anybody ever looked up how much these flights are, like all around the
all around super cheap?
They're nothing.
Yeah.
So then you fly out of Florence to Poland, to Switzerland, to Germany, to Spain for like $160. So now I've got an Italy house, which if it works the way I want it to work, is going to be paying for itself. If everything works the way that I hope it does, right? Like here in the States. And even not, I can afford it's funny because you have all these accounts that are making money. Your accounts can start to help pay if you have like a deficiency, right? So, but the idea is to go and spend a month in Italy and then be like, do you want to go to 2 weeks to Switzerland? And then you want to go to Spain and then Germany and then we'll head home. I want to show my husband that whole side of the world.
Yeah.
And I always say it's a legacy ad, for my children for sure. But it is truly about Nick and I finishing out life like with that like grand slam effect. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So a long time ago, we changed our retirement plan. For a long time, we had this house with the white fence and the long driveway and the horses in the pasture and like this place, right? And then we were driving home from our cabin and we're like, why does it have to be one place? Why does retirement have to be one place? Why do we do that? Why do we say we got to pay off our house and then we're stuck in this fucking house? Like, it's a big world.
Yeah.
So the Airbnbs became purchases only in locations that we want to travel. And I still want a lake house, stay tuned. And I still want something in Idaho, stay tuned. You know what I mean? Like I will continue to add these so that then I have all these little, it actually is already difficult. Like October, we're always like, do we want to go to Utah?
What are we doing?
Yeah. October's always like, God, it's so, and then it's funny, I just sound bougie, but I'll be in Florida, I'm like, oh, I miss the Utah cabin, And I know I'll be in Italy too and doing that, or like be somewhere, I'm like, oh, I miss that, like, those are good problems to have.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks in Italy.
Yeah.
Talk about the financing. How is that for people that are wondering?
Yeah. So up till about 4 weeks ago, I thought I was going to have to buy cash. And so we had a budget. I wanted to stick around. So I don't want somewhere out. I want to buy in Tuscany, but I don't want somewhere out where it's a big house and a lot of land because I live here. So I definitely wanted to find like a town that I would be close to, like the piazza.
Yeah.
And I could go get my coffee and come back, or pizza or wine or all of
Walking
it.
distance.
All of it.
Or everything at once.
Yeah, all of it. So I wanted to do like something like that. So I thought like 250, 300, but then like education. I'm sick. I'm sick person because I will help people with real estate from morning till night, and then 10 o'clock will come around and I'll be like, let's look in Italy, real estate, and then I just change my head. And so then I'll do YouTube, Instagram, find people to follow, reach out to them, DM them, stalk them, of course, email them until they have to answer me. And then I've got a friendship with somebody out in Italy.
Not forced at all, ladies and gentlemen. Not forced at all.
Not
totally casual.
Yeah. All. Like, I'm going to be there in September. I know where you live.
Yeah.
So we have to meet. But I find these people. There's just the world we live in. Everything is out there. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? How to shave your cat? There's going to be some kind of.
Oh my God! Tell me about it.
I don't know. I don't have a cat, but I'm just saying, if you wanted to learn how to correctly shave a cat, I'm sure there's a video.
You can find it. Yes.
Right?
Like anything.
Anything. And I would never crap on college, but I mean, what do you want to do? Yeah. And then somebody's out there doing something similar or da-da-da-da-da. So I found these people, and I found this woman specifically. She bought during COVID, and she financed her buy. She's from the UK, but she financed her buy. And I said, how did you finance your buy? She gave me the company. I reached out. I filled out the application for the company. Now, their financing restrictions are like tougher. So like here in the States, when I'm buying an investment property, we're usually putting, if it's a conventional buy, there's different ways of buying, and I'm not going to get into all that, but like a conventional buy, I'm going to put down 20-25% to get rid of my mortgage insurance, and that's like a conventional buy, right? So in Italy, especially being an American buying in Italy, I'm going to have to more than likely put down 50%. But hey, I was going to be buying $300,000 cash.
Yeah.
You know, and that's going to take away from funds that I could be purchasing other homes or Airbnbs here. Yeah, so now I just took that budget from 300 to 150 and I could still buy the same product.
Exactly.
Now, I did reach out. Did you know Las Vegas has an Italian consulate? Because I didn't, but we do. I am setting up an appointment because I need my codus fiscale. So that's a social security number in Italy. So first things first, I need to go get my codus fiscale. So that's being set on the books. Once I do that, I need an Italian bank account. These are like steps 1, 2, right, before buying. Why is this?
Take notes, guys.
Because you need to pay Italian taxes. I want to go buy an Italian property. They're going to want taxes. So I need a Italian social security number. I need an Italian bank account. I can buy an Italian property and pay Italian taxes.
Now, the social security number, is it as easy as you're making it sound? Like, cause
I don't know. Stay tuned. Episode 2.
Yes, I'm bringing you back.
We just got an appointment. I have no idea, like, what they're going to need. What blood,
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay.
But again, these steps have been lined out by so many. I mean, there's people that go live every Thursday, and there's people that tour home. There's realtors. They don't call them realtors. They call them property finders. So there's property finders in Italy that will do tours and post on YouTube for Americans to buy so that they can get their referral fee from Italian realtors.
I love it. That's awesome.
All they're doing is going and touring beautiful fucking Italian homes.
Yeah.
And then they're like, call me for the information. Then you call and then they push you off to an Italian.
They don't know. You don't know that they don't know that they're not like they're
it's
just trying to help, right? They're trying to help here. Like, let me show you this
and
nice
they're doing
house.
a great video.
Yeah,
And they're talking through it and da 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 da. And I mean, I'm not an idiot. I know you're getting a kicker, you know, but
course.
I want the
helping.
house too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So because Italian photos are awful.
Yeah, I've seen. Yes, they're so bad.
They're so bad. They're dark. They're like 5
It's like not even on an iPhone. It's like one of those
it's
old cameras,
so
probably,
bad.
like those with the flash.
It's so bad. I'm like, why is an American over there with all their, and like just go and be like, yeah.
Let me increase your sales just by taking nicer
Please.
photos. Yeah, it's kind of like on your listing, right?
Please go to the window and show me the street.
Yeah.
I seriously, I'm so.
That's smart. Yes.
It's like inside and out, but I want to like. I'm drinking my coffee and I want to look out the window, but you never show me out the window. I'm always like,
fuckers, show her the window, damn it.
I'm always like looking like, where's the window? They never show you.
So why Italy? Is it because you love Italian food? And I know it's a hub, but why not Spain? Why not England?
Yeah, I know. Really good. I prior Air Force, know a lot of pilots. And I know a lot of pilots that left the military that now fly for Delta, American. They just fly for all. So I just asked my pilot friends, I'm like, where's a good place in Europe that's really easy to fly in and out of? And I got Florence a lot.
Okay.
I got Spain too.
Okay.
But Florence is amongst Tuscany, which is kind of where I was like, okay, perfect. And when you look at the map, the boot, and like everything kind of is around it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, this logistically, map speaking, makes sense. Fly in, have a hub home, and then just go bloop, bloop, bloop.
I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. So how when you have the house, because I know you will, when you get the house, how long do you want to stay there at a period of time?
I don't know. You know what's my biggest setback on that? That here comes my week.
The kids.
No, it's not my kids.
Oh, shit.
It's my dogs.
Oh, my God.
Because the kids I can take.
Yeah.
My dogs, I have Boston Terriers, and they don't travel well in planes. Like their noses, they have those. I always miss
the stout nose or something
yeah,
like that?
the brachyphasalis, or they're short-nosed dogs. So they could die on planes.
Shit.
And I love my dogs.
Yeah,
I
so
really
no risk.
do.
Okay.
Well, I just don't want to be gone for long periods of time, because then we get home and they have like social anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, I thought you loved me. I thought you died. You know, like literally my littlest dog, like I come home and he gets so excited and he starts doing those backward sneezes.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm always like walking slow, like don't be like, hey, because he literally, it's like I picture him being a fainting goat, where he's gonna be like, ah, pook, you know, but he would die, you know, so I don't want him to die. So kids, they can come with. My
That's fine. They're okay.
Can't,
Yeah.
So that's the only thing holding me back from spending months at a time.
Okay, so you'll go weeks at a time, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
so.
And talk to me a little bit about your trust.
Okay.
Because you said that your kids aren't going to get shit. What does this mean?
If they're terrible people.
Yeah.
So our trust is structured, and if you own multiple properties, do yourself a favor and go get a trust. Don't lose all your hard work. We're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Let's just get it out there.
Yep.
We're all gonna die. I would just hate for all of this work to just...
And even if you own just one property, right? Because probate sucks.
Yes, probate sucks.
Yeah, and we've seen it.
Get a homestead, go get
yeah.
a trust, get these things in line. So we did, and when you're starting to scale at the rate that we scale now, like we added 4 properties to our portfolio in July. Well, got to go back to the trust, and you got to go and add these in there, you know. So it's a constant evolution.
Yeah.
But initially, the big thing was our kids aren't seeing anything. Even if I were to die today, they're not seeing anything until I think it's 31 is the age that we chose for
31.
some reason.
Wow. Okay.
31.
So they need to work their ass off from
Why
18.
am I going to give a 25-year-old a
Smart.
multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio?
That's smart.
I would love to think my children are going to be that like special 25-year-old, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So no, I feel like young 30s are the time frames where you're maybe settling down or buying a house or maybe settled into your career, and those moments where, man, that could really help, right? In an adult body, using adult brain and making hopefully a little bit better decisions.
You've made all the mistakes in your 20s, early 20s. You're okay.
My kids aren't getting anything in their 20s.
Yeah.
So
Smart.
31, I'm not anti-college. I think that sometimes comes off that way, but I am everybody must go to college. I don't think every kid needs to go to college. I think that there are we live in America. There are plenty of stories of multi-million billionaires out there that never went to college.
A lot.
You know?
Yes.
So
100%.
I just need them to be productive, and there's a drug test in there too.
Ooh.
So if they're not...
Wait, every when? Like every year?
If and when it was to be the successors.
This is, guys, take notes on this too.
Yeah, so they have to pass a drug test. 31, they have to be in some kind of career, being a productive human being.
Yeah.
Before anything gets dispersed.
Credit score above 750, maybe.
I like that.
Let me run your credit really quick.
That.
Shows how responsible you
I
are.
like that.
Man, you've given me a lot to think about. What's a message to anybody that's listening? What's something because you've been like, your story in itself is like very inspiring, 1. And 2, it goes to show like America for me.
Yeah.
It's like limitless possibilities, right? Like you just got to put your mind to it, put some grit. It's not going to be easy, right? I'm pretty sure you can test this. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
So what do you want to leave other realtors who are potentially like, man, I want to do what she's doing?
1, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. What's you? What makes real estate for you? If I'm talking to realtors, what are you good at? Where's your strengths? We all have our different strengths. We all have our different niches. Don't ever try to copy somebody. Literally, go stand in front of the effing mirror and be like, what do I have to give? Number 1.
Yes.
So lean into you. We're all different. That's what makes us beautiful.
Yep.
This country is limitless. I've been to countries where women don't have voices. They can't even show their face. They are literally treated like dog shit. And it was one of my biggest blessings to actually witness that in real life, to come back here and go, I can do anything.
Yep.
I can legitimately do anything.
Yeah.
Tell me I can't. You know, another favorite phrase, watch me, you know? So, for all the realtors, I would say you never have to copy. It's good to take, okay, this works for me, this works. I still do that where I'm like, I like this little thing, but it's never a full copy. It's always like, I like this little ad. I like this little ad. And by the end of it, you've created your own identity, you know, and your own with your own personality, your own storyline. And you can literally this career field, oh my God, this career field blows my mind with what you can do in terms of finances and financial stability and investments, and like truly changing yours and other people's lives. And then hopefully give back with education, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. I'm the shittiest effing realtor because I walk into listing consultations all the time. I'm like, why are you selling this house? You should keep it. You know, I'm shitty. I'm like, literally, why? Yeah. I mean, I'll sell it for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But this is a great investment property
Yeah.
if you've ever thought of adding it to your portfolio.
Giving
I always
them
say I'm the
options.
worst realtor, and somehow I always get the listing. I'm like,
Because you're honest.
literally told you to keep it. I'll help you sell it. You know?
It's you being honest and genuine. Like, hey,
Yeah.
look, you should keep it because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Right? But if you want to sell it, I can't.
I can help you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And many a times I've slid my own offer across the tape. I'll list it. Here's the listing agreement, and here's my offer. I think I've bought
This is
like
what I
5 of
want.
my own listings.
This is awesome.
You know?
So, where can people reach you? How can they get in contact with you? All the
Yes.
socials, email,
Yeah.
whatever you want to give.
Yeah.
This is your plug right here.
Instagram is a huge one. I answer all of my DMs at some point. My name is spelt a little funny, Falisha, Falisha. Bye, Felicia. Felicia Rexford. That's really the biggest one. I'm occasionally on Facebook. I have, I'm the team lead of the Rexford group. So if you ever wanted to go on and look at the Rexford group, lv.com, that's my website. And if you see me on the streets, please come and say hi to me because that actually means a lot to me.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I know that you're extremely busy.
No,
this is awesome.
this was fun.
Guys, I hope you guys learned something from this amazing woman. I know I for sure have. Thank you so much for tuning in.